champion and Bruce is one of Bruce's main champions, but instead they go for the Karma. And I think the Karma is great because it allows Bruce to potentially play the hyper carry.
At the same time, Flash Wolves are also looking to pick up whatever is remaining afterwards in the second rotation. Of course, that is going to be the Senna, something you've talked about a ton here. And fun fact, all right, so Stu and I were doing some research about this before before the day started. Cherries are actually not berries. They are in fact a drupe. And a drupe is classified by having a thin skin, flesh, and then a seed in the center. So stuff like plums and cherries are not berries, they are drupes.
I didn't actually expect you to bring that up.
Great analysis, by the way. And this is entirely relevant because...
Nothing to do with Wild Rift at
because, because Cherry, you know, is a great juggler, right?
Okay, where are you going with this?
And troops belong in the jungle. Let's jump back to what we have on screen right now. Senna Singed for J-Team, Kha'Zix, and Garrett for Flash Wolves.
This is only the first game, Grandin. We've still got potentially a full 5 games. You've already lost me. Yeah, Kha'Zix going into the hands of Cookie. I think Kha'Zix has been one of the biggest priority junglers, I think, in the entire tournament. Really good during the mid-game and late game in terms of scaling. You have Garen as well for Ysera. Interesting enough that it's gone for Garen. It could also be mid-lane Garen, because I think the Camille most of the time goes into Ysera, but obviously that's banned, so it's maybe a second choice. But for the side of J-Team, they have the big front line. You know, they have the Singed, they have the Wukong as the front line, they have the Senna in the back line as well. The interesting part about J-Team is that normally when they play the Senna, they don't really like to go for the Nasus. We sometimes see that Nasus being paired with Senna, but we've actually seen Senna for J-Team, you know, DY likes to prefer to go for the Galio or even the Gragas, which means that, you know, this kind of shows the potential of DY and it shows what they want. You know, DY is one of the best roaming supports in this entire tournament, you know, in the mid lane, in the Baron lane, trying to invade as well, roaming around with Cherry to be able to get that advantage and allow J-Team to control the map.
And it's interesting that you mentioned that because Flash Wolves, I think, also identified that the Gragas ban, they don't want to allow that for J-Team. And also largely because I feel like Flash Wolves are a team that has similar champion pickups to J-Team, right? We understand that there are always going to be meta picks, but it tends to be a lot more similar between teams like Flash Wolves, like J-Team, than other teams, for example.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. And I think, you know, the bans on the other side as well, we can see that, you know, they scared of Bruce. They're very, very scared of Bruce. You know, Lucia ban, Xayah ban. So the other pick that is open is the Galio. But I think, like you said, you know, Eason is another player that likes to play, you know, Gragas and Galio. But there you go. There's the Galio pick. That's going to be on the hands of DY with Berry down in the duo lane with the Senna. So it leaves the last pick potentially a flex pick. You know, the Wukong can be played in the jungle and it can also be played in the Baron lane as well. Both Dawn and Cherry have played Wukong in this in Icon so far, so leaving that flex pick till last, which is another great thing about the red side.
Flash Wolves now have to decide how they want to try and deal with this. A lot of combo potential here from J-Team. You have the Wukong going in, the Galley to follow up with, of course the Singed with the pickup potential. So I'm looking for Flash Wolves. Maybe they just need something that can help them get away. Karma gives them some like mobility, some movement speed, but it's still going to be difficult to get away from a lot of the hard crowd control we see from J-Team.
Yeah, J-Team, you know, JT's comp just shouts at me, engage, and oh, Bruce's first game back in the Dragon Lane, back on a hyper carry. And I mentioned it, you know, the Karma allows you to play these hyper carries because Karma is a champion, you know, has the shields, has the peeling back as well. I think it's the first time we've actually seen Vayne
in the AR.
Yeah. Augmented reality.
Is that just like a little tumble, a little spin?
Yeah, a little tumble. First ability.
Very
nice
cool.
Little tumble. But yeah, Bruce in the hands of Vayne. I'm really, really excited to see this, you know. The bot lane that, you know, we've been hyping up with Flash Wolves, you know, Bruce has been a player that mainly played mid lane during the WCS, but now has to go, you know, transition into the duo lane with Bayer coming into the roster. But yeah, that duo lane is going to be very, very scary. And I think Vayne's a really good pick because if you look at J-Team, all of it shouts frontline, all of it shouts tankiness. And what does Vayne love to do? Vayne loves to shred tanks with all of her true damage as well. So I think in this game, it's going to be all eyes on Bruce to see what he can do. But like you said, though, you know, J-Team is all about engage, all about going in. They want to try and shut down this Vayne, and they have a lot of tools to try and shut down the Vayne as well.
That's a big potential. You have the Darius, you have the Singe, things they could find the Vayne in bad situations. Flash Wolves need to pull ahead with that first win, putting it all onto Bruce. Let's start this one by talking a little bit about a matchup that I'm curious to hear your thoughts about, Stuart.
Okay.
Ysera versus Dawn. Almost said that Dawn is a different caliber of player. How does Ysera stack up?
Yeah, Ysera, I mean, in this matchup, you know, you got Garen against Darius. I think in terms of the players itself, you know, Ysera has shown that he can be a carry, you know, especially on that Camille, but I think, as Omo said on the analyst desk, you know, Dawn is a completely higher level, and you can see there's already a lot of aggression down in this Duro lane. Both exhausts already blown, but I think Ysera is going to have a bit of a difficult time. But saying that, he is on the Garen duty, he is on tank duty as well, so I wouldn't be surprised to see him play maybe a little bit more passive. But at the same time, we can see Garen's, you know, yesterday Garen spin to wins, full damage Garen.
That's what I was going to say.
Yeah.
Tank is a state of mind. You're only a tank if you tell yourself, yeah, I'm a tank, I don't do damage here. But if you go in the mindset, yes, I will assassinate your Alistar, I'll take down your tanks, you are very much a damage dealer. You're an assassin, in fact.
We'll have to see what build Ysera goes for this game. Already starting off with the Ruby Crystal, so maybe going for the tanky approach. In terms of jungles as well, we got Cherry on a more tank utility jungler, I would say. You know, Wukong's not really known as a carry jungler. Saying that, Long yesterday on the Wukong got that nice cheeky triple kill on the river, so it just shows that Wukong does have the damage and the outplay potential. And then Cookie, on the other hand, I think he's just going to be farming up, just trying to scale with Kha'Zix, but Cookie?
I love what Flash Wolves were doing here, trying to go in for the Scuttle Crab, but at the same time, the response from J-Team. They push in the bot side, rotate over, try to put some pressure down. Good from Cookie, because Cherry down the bot side as well, he was able to take away the Scuttle Crab.
That was really, really risky, though, by Cookie, because their bot lane didn't have any prior, so Berry and DY were able to roam up, but he just walked forward. He was just like, yeah, I'm just going to take this crab, I'm just going to jump away. I don't really care if you know, deal enough damage, but to be honest, you know, Berry and DY don't really have that much damage, but Cookie able to smite that away and get the first Scuttle Crab. A trading Scuttle Crabs, I feel like. I think it was actually Dawn that took the top lane Scuttle Crab, so Cherry won't be able to get any Scuttle Crabs at all. DY goes in!
Flashing in for the Justice Punch, the knock-up onto Bruce, and an opportunity here for J-Team with first blood on the hyper carry from Flash Wolves.
This is the thing, is like, with Flash Wolves, I feel like you need to play a lot more passive in this Duro lane, because you have the range disadvantage with the Vayne. You don't want to play aggressive, and you know, if you step up a little bit too far, DY has an opportunity, you know, E-flash forward into the taunt as well, and then Berry with the follow-up means that they get first bloods, and to be honest, it's too easy for J-Team. That is really too easy, and I feel like it's a little bit of a misplay by Bruce. I think you should realize that, you know, you're on the Vayne, you can just play back, you can play passive, just farm up, you don't need to trade at all, and you could just scale into late game, but instead they're going for these trades, and
we already started to
first bloods.
Bruce falling behind in gold, you know, in a situation where you're up against the fasting center, where both sides tend to be a little bit behind in gold, they're actually ahead. You know, it's an interesting situation for Bruce to be in right now.
That is crazy. You can see that the supports are 1,000 gold ahead. You know, DY's 1,000 gold ahead of Eason, but that makes sense because when you're playing Senna, as you said, it's fasting Senna. For the people at home that don't know, it means that Senna, even though is the main carry, quote unquote, is going to be Galio taking all the farm, and Berry's jobs this game is just to get as many souls as possible. You can see Berry's just using the poke, and then DY is the one taking the farm, meaning that he's going to be able to build AP Galio, which looks like he's what he's going with the Rod of Ages, means he can deal a little bit more damage at the same time.
Very interesting start here from Berry, right? Going for the Proto Belt, just trying to move in, maybe get a top, maybe get the snare somewhere. Very interesting start here for J-Team. They have a lot of pickoff potential, and I cannot emphasize this enough at this point, right? You look at what they have across the board. You have the upper hand from the Darius, you have the shoulder fling for the Singed. Of course, you have the crowd control for the Wukong and for the Galio.
There's a snare.
Transcendent Embrace tries to pulls them in, but you can very quickly see what happens here, the impact and the response out from J-Team to quickly knock away Bruce. Not much HP left to play with, gets hit by the exhaust, and very quickly has to stop moving away.
But you can see the healing that's on the side of J-Team as well. You know, Berry has the grasp with the healing, also has the first ability for the healing. DY also has Font of Life. More healing, so it's just healing in this dual lane, meaning they can stay there as well. And they're going to even try and take the first tower of the game.
Eason so low. Cookie might come down to bot side, but it looks like J-Team have already secured first start for themselves. Now we got to stop moving on to Eason. Eason flashes away, spots out danger.
and they're really focusing on this bot side. We were talking about Bruce, you know, Bruce needs to make sure that he doesn't fall too far behind, and if, you know, the Vayne can get a few items, and the Vayne can definitely, you know, roll over this game, but at the moment it's J-Team and it's Cherry moving down to the bot side. They get an early first tower, and that's even before the objective spawn as well, which means that they can go back to base, they can use that money that they got from that first tower, which is going to be the team-wide gold that they get, go back, take the gold, and then also buy items, which means they can go to the objectives with a little bit of an advantage.
First spawn coming up, Cookie's going to make his way over to the Rift Tower. J-Team not want to give this
they
one
want to fight
up
this
too easily. Rotate over. I believe Package picked up here for Baya, and so they get to fight for this position, but J-Team are so confident. Package or not, they do not care.
Yeah, they're not going to be able to contest this, I feel like. I feel like Flash Wolves, they don't have anything. They have the scaling on their side as well, but
they just give it up.
They just give it up. But at the same time, they're not even going to be able to take Dragon for this as well, because everyone from Flash Wolves was trying to move over to that Rift Hole, trying to get that before J-Team got onto the map. But the problem is they were way too slow. They were way too late to it. And now J-Team, they could have the potential to take both objectives.
What a dominant position here from J-Team. You can see how little vision it is for Flash Wolves across the map. Once you cut past that middle line in the river, not much vision there at all. And so J-Team, they get to go back, reset, come back for the Dragon now, start setting themselves up for position.
And one thing I want to note with J-Team as well is what they did really, really well during play-ins and group stage. Like, J-Team did really well at controlling the map. You know, when they're ahead, if they have the little bit of an advantage, they go as a team, they group up, and they just... They can't, and they don't allow the enemy team to do anything at all. As you say that, Dawn
flashes away and only has to put in his summoner spells to get away with his life.
going in mid as well.
Bruce again in danger. They're chasing after a kill. The Piercing Darkness picks it up. Cherry flashes in for a safe measure, but they find a second diving into the mid lane. J-Team controlling the Rift.
And it's just too easy right now for J-Team. As I mentioned, you know, when they group together, they play as a unit. This is where J-Team can shine. You know, Dawn in the top side did really well. And Baya, I don't know why you wouldn't auto-attack
the Rift Herald.
Yeah.
Please.
I'm not too sure why you wouldn't hit the Rift Herald.
I know what he was thinking. It was like, okay, I'm gonna use my ultimate. It's gonna land. I'm gonna auto attack it one time. It's gonna go down. Because he's like, oh yeah, I have Hullbreaker. I do this. But he forgets that there are minions in the way, and he gets blocked by the minions, so he doesn't do enough damage.
Unfortunate. But again, this is Bruce tumbling forward. This is Bruce again playing aggressive, and you can't do this on a champion like Vayne. You know, if you're playing, I don't know, like a Draven or someone like that, you know, a champion like that has a more aggressive and a stronger early game, then that would be okay. But on the likes of Vayne, you can't tumble forward because, especially like you mentioned, you know, against the Galio, against the Wukong, they can easily just engage onto you, and then that's it. You know, when you're chain CC'd, the Karma can only do so much, can only heal and shield you so much, and now it's at a point of the game where J-Team, you know, about 5,000 gold lead already, and you can see that. Look at the team gold. Every single one on J-Team is ahead of Flash Wolves. Ooh. That's the first time I think I've ever seen that.
Even with the support players, because of the nature of Fasting Senna, here we have Cherry moving on to Ysera, bringing in D1 as well. They're fighting towards the jungle right now. Senna Embrace doesn't find that much done. Cherry finally gets taken down. Response here from Flash Wolves, fighting within their own jungle, but very quickly a response back from J-Team again by taking down Bruce.
Okay, they were able to pick off Cherry in the end. They were able to use Ysera's ultimate to be able to get it, which was all good for Flash Wolves. But on the other hand, they were able to pick off Bruce at the same time again. So a one-for-one trade. And look, this is what I was mentioning about J-Team. Once they get ahead, they move through the enemy junglers, and there's nothing you can do about it.
This is so brutal here, Stuart. Diving under the turret, it just does not look like the objective is even there. They get the walk out. Dawn lives again after 2 kills go over to J-Team.
And they just play with so much confidence. They're still playing aggressive, and even in the mid lane. This is jungle against mid lane, but Cherry might lose this one, though.
Divine Sunder gap, look at how much he's healing. He's just sustaining up so much. Every crushing blow does so much for Cherry here.
My God, the Divine Sunder, like you said, you know, the healing from the first ability, plus the healing from Divine Sunder as well, means that he can sustain up against Bayer, and that's even with Hullbreaker as well. He had Hullbreaker, so he had the extra armor and magic resist as well, and he was still able to win out that trade. And now for Flash Wolves, you have to do something. I feel like Flash Wolves, they're just running out of time already, to be honest with you. I feel like, you know, with this comp, you need to wait until you scale into the mid and late game, but it's at the point of the game already that it's just like, I think even if you get into the mid and late game, J-Team have already taken so much. They've taken the first tower, the first dragon, the first Rift Herald. The second Rift Herald's up, and look, you can see J-Team, they're already there. They're one step ahead of Flash Wolves. They're even going to try and kill Bayer.
Catch on to Bayer, who has the package, so will be able to get away despite the efforts from Pan to stop him. Ever watched the movie In Time with Justin Timberlake? And it's like, so it's like everyone has like a timer on their watch, right? Well, I'm gonna focus on this for a second. I'll get back to that point because Flash was respawning down the bottom side. Rift Herald being picked up by J-Team towards the other end. DY comes to the bottom side here, try protect Dawn, but will ultimately get taken down. A 2 for Rift Herald exchange across the map.
I like this from Flash Wolves. You know, they're trying to make proactive play, but at the same time, you can see J-Team. You know, you take one thing on the map, J-Team will take something else. They take the mid lane tower, which obviously did take that Rift Herald hit in the early game as well. They were even pushing in the Baron lane as well, so they're losing more and more. And it even gets a charge on the inhibitor tower as well.
I felt like there was a smite angle.
Did he have, oh, he did have smite up as well.
I think so.
Okay,
I'm not gonna think about this. Not gonna think about it anymore. The Rift Herald does what it does. All right.
I feel like so Rift Herald, you've just flamed Flash Wolves twice
in
now.
time. Right. It's like that. So you have like the timer on your your hand, and it tells you how much time you have. It's like your global currency, right? It's like Flash Wolves right now. You know, they're left with like a couple of minutes.
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah, and they're like running to like pick up more time from like their friend. So like there's that scene in time. You know, when you need was the mom was running over to Justin Timberlake trying to pick up more time. Does not get there, and I feel like that's what's happening to Flash Wolves now. They've got but like they have Ardent Sensor on Eason. They have 2 items on Bruce, but he takes so much damage from Barry. Barry has nothing right now, realistically, and he's
getting caught again. He's tumbling forward. He's playing aggressive, but he might just be dead again.
Gets caught by the exhaust. He steps forward just 1 second too long, and J-Team very quickly punished that by taking down Bruce yet again. There we go. That's that scene. He's running towards him, running towards Justin Timberlake, and then gets caught and dies. That's the end.
Very good reference. And
Thank you.
And even Ysera now. Ysera is definitely running out of time.
Oh.
Ysera is trying to run away. He's trying to get help. He's calling all the help in the world, but unfortunately for him, he just has 3 tanky members of J-Team, and that's 1 dead Garen. Don't normally say that too much. A dead Garen. Garen's normally a tank or something, you know, normally gets kills, and this time it's the other way around. This time it's actually Garen the one that's dying.
Ysera chose violence, though. He went for the Starks Gauge Black Cleaver.
Yeah.
That's definitely a choose violence build.
I think it was the similar build as yesterday.
Oh, absolutely.
With, you know, more aggressive Garen build. I think when Soraida's Grudge, 3rd item.
He looked at it and was like, yeah, I could do that. I could definitely do that.
Whatever you could do, I could do better. But unfortunately, Ysera can't do better this game because J-Team, they have near enough of, well, what's that, 8,000 gold leads at the moment, 7,000 gold leads. And the one thing I love about J-Team, like I mentioned, is that when they get a gold lead, they're not worried, they're not afraid to go into enemy territory, go into the enemy jungle, get the deep vision. You can see the vision already on the bot side. You know, there's deep vision for J-Team in the bot side of the map.
Right.
There's 1 ward right there, which you can see on the map right now, at the bottom of your screen. 1 ward there, you've got another ward in the bot side of the map, and they're going to look to do this. You'll be seeing J-Team play aggressive and look to try and get deep vision, because with their comp, they have great pick potential. They can look for flanks with DY, and you can see DY at the moment, he's moving through the enemy territory and might even try and catch up Bayer. And again, Bayer has to use his package defensively.
The package used trying to get some vision towards the Baron side, which makes sense with Flash Wolves now. But honestly, at this point, J-Team just have so much control. Yep. And it's one of the hallmark kind of the abilities of these amazing teams to be able to use the advantage they have to establish an amazing vision line. You can see the kind of fog of war set up for Flash Wolves, only vision towards that side of their jungle.
Oh, look at this!
And of course, Bruce going down yet again means J-Team pick up yet another catch on the Vayne. We'll have to see if this means they want to try and go for the Baron, or if they're going to wait out for that. Well, they go for initiation, try and dive them in with the Emperor Hand, pulls in Cookie. Cookie goes into stasis. J-Team starting to come through. Dawn hits the ultimate, lands it onto the Kha'Zix, takes down the inhibitor mid lane, and are opening up the game.
Oh, this inhibitor down. Let's inhibit down in 13 minutes in this game. They took the first tower about 4.5 minutes. They took the first Rift Herald, they took the first Dragon. Honestly, ever since then, Flash Wolves have struggled to get back into this game. It's been J-Team dominating. You know what we call that Death Brush? We call it Fnatic Death Brush. Right there. The Fnatic Death Brush.
They're not even in Wild Rift right now. So I feel like we can afford to give it to somebody else. What do you want?
We call it a J-Team Death Brush.
We call it we call it a cherry brush. a droop brush.
The cherries grow on bushes.
No.
I don't even know at this point. Cherries, berries,
droops.
Droops, everything. Any more fruit enjoyers? Fruit and vegetables?
Any fruit enjoyers in chat? Well, JT, I'm very close to closing this one out, I think. I will, I think we established you're kind of a half glass empty kind of guy. I'm a glass half full kind of guy. So I want to look towards the bright side. Ysera, in his matchup against Dawn, did decently, right? I mean, it is the Garen. It's an easier matchup, like you said. The Garen generally gets to play safe. But he got to go for a more aggressive build. It's like 2-2-1 or something like that. Scoreline looks okay. So I think going into the next matches, Ysera will not be the worry. I think it's down to the bot side now, how Bruce and Baya intend to get enabled.
Yeah, I think Bruce and Eason, they definitely struggled in this game. I think it was Bruce just playing a little bit too aggressive in this game, and they're going to have to go back to the drawing board now. This is going to be pretty much J-Team just trying to close it out. They're going to try and head towards the Baron, but you can see at the moment that towards that Baron, you can see, again, the death brushes. They're all going towards them. And Plants just look to go in!
The cherry brush sliding away gives J-Team the first kill, taking down Eason. They very quickly move on to the second target. Cookie gets to escape with invisibility. Baya with the exhaust will hold Cherry in place, but Dawn will not be stopped. Gets the chase after on the turret. Meanwhile, Bruce goes down now. The only two remaining members on this side of Flash Wolves in the sights of J-Team. Baya the next to fall, and J-Team very dominantly take control of the game and are looking to close out game number 1 in their favor.
Yeah, they only lose 3 kills in the end. They only lost 1 tower, and that's it. That's the prime game in Ace, and J-Team take a dominant game 1 against Flash Wolves.
Exactly the start you want to see from J-Team. Flash Wolves need to do a lot more to pull back confidence for games 2, 3, maybe 4 in a reverse sweep.
Oh, maybe. I feel the WCS copium right now coming out from you. I feel it.
And Flash Wolves will not get close if Bruce plays like this. It is just pretty clear and straightforward. This was a case of vein spotting here in Wild Red.
It truly was, and honestly, though, props to J-Team because I feel like they kind of forced Flash Wolves into the situations as well. You call back to what J-Team banned away in the second phase of the draw. If you look at Barry's damage as well, fantastic performance from him. J-Team banned away Xayah and Lucian, 2 of Bruce's best picks to really have a good laning phase on, and that really just leaves the only marksman options for him in the Dragon lane down to Cocky and the Vayne. They put the Cocky in mid lane. Maybe they should have considered putting that in the hands of Bruce, and he gets forced onto the Vayne. One thing leads to another, and this game plays out.
Yeah, but I mean, there's so many others that we've seen be played before. The Varus comes to mind.